Alright, how's it going, guys? So, here lately I've been missing one video a week. Normally it's the Friday video because of how much stuff I have to get done between videos. But this week apparently it was Wednesdays. Hopefully you guys understand that this isn't like other series where I can just bust out videos in an hour. I have a lot of back end work that I have to do in this world. Um, but anyways, let's get busy. So, first off, I did change this over, so we now have a mass storage up here to hold the ferrous chloride, although it's supposed to come out of this and that. Oh, I think I see the problem here. Because I shouldn't be getting this in here. Where I currently am. But I do believe, if I look at this properly, let's get a little verticality here. No, that definitely should not be going there unless we're getting two batches going through. But since I have brass over there, we can't be getting two going through. Also, this is seriously annoying me. Those being not brass are driving me up the wall. But I had a major issue happen, which is that I ran the fuck out of power. So that's what I've been working on in the background, is playing with lava and getting it to run again. Because the way I have it set up, it has to almost get, that tank has to get almost completely full down there before it'll run. So I've been dealing with getting everything turned back on around here. But now that should take care of that. So the pipe comes over, it can go, oh, it's exactly one block each way. I should do a restrictor pipe here, is what I need to do. Alright, I'll change that out later and put a restrictor pipe there. But we also have this, where the output from here, which this isn't a bad thing, don't get me wrong, because that means that we can run more of the hydrochloric acid from our chlorine and our water, which is a good thing. But if we need lots of hydrochloric acid, then we need this to be able to turn on. And we have actually filled up on sulfuric acid, which isn't good. This does put out an excess of sulfuric acid. So if we don't have something using sulfuric acid, it will fill up. When I was on the server last time, I ended up having to break down. And see, this is something that kind of annoys me with GT6. Sulfuric acid doesn't have a sink. Everything is pretty much, it doesn't have a basic sink, we'll say that. We used to be able to make single-use batteries from sulfuric acid in GT5. So, which, granted, is a little weird that you're just pulling power straight out of sulfuric acid. That's not exactly how that works, but it gave you a way of getting rid of excess sulfuric acid. But in here, everything gives you back your sulfuric acid. So sulfuric acid of 10.5 here gives you vitriol of clay, And that vitriol clay, once you go through all of the things, is going to give you that right back. So you're not going to lose any in your bathing process. Making it into hydrochloric acid, you're going to end up getting the hydrochloric acid back most of the time. And turning it into nitric acid is probably the best bet. Because your nitric acid, when you use it, mainly we're going to be using it for making Aqua Regia because, well, we don't need excess CO2. And that's the only reason to do any of these recipes here, is if we needed ass tons of CO2. So we're mainly going to be using our nitric acid to make Aqua Regia, or using it to make glycerol. Now, this is the only real sink for sulfuric acid, is turning it into glycerol, because you only get 120 liters of sulfur dioxide back, and you need a 420 to make it, and that still may not be completely, but you also have the 300 nitric, which you're not getting back out of this. So this is a basic sink if you're only using sulfuric acid to make your nitric acid. If you're using nitrogen dioxide from nitrogen and oxygen, that's a whole different story. But this is your biggest kind of sink here, because when we use this for our chloroplatinic acid, we're going to get back hydrochloric acid and oxygen, and we're going to get nitrogen monoxide, which we're going to end up turning back into nitrogen dioxide, which we're going to turn back into nitric acid as well. So I don't know that there's really that much of a sink in there either. But I ended up having to, on the server, turn sulfur dioxide, because you can't even break down sulfuric acid once you make it. You can't electrolyze it. You can't do anything with it other than use it for one of the many things. But this is what I ended up doing with it, was I made disulfuric acid, which I think this is what I did. No, that's not what I did. There was a way I got rid of sulfuric acid. Now, technically, you could sort of get rid of it here, making carbon from sugar. But if I remember correctly, you can't get rid of sulfuric acid itself. You can get rid of... I gotta think here what it was. I think it's sulfur dioxide. Because you have sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide. I swore it was this one, though. But there's no... Yeah, that's just to make it into... And I don't even know why he has this one. Like, what reason is there to have this? Sulfuric acid and sulfur trioxide makes disulfuric acid, which you then can put with water and get sulfuric acid. Is this supposed to be a better way of making... let's see, 700 and 400, and gives you 1100, where if you did sulfur trioxide straight with water, it's 1 to 3/4. Where if you do it this way, it's using more of the sulfuric acid. I really don't understand the reason for that one. But now I'm completely lost on where in the hell it was. Here, we'll go backwards. So, I think it was in the mixer. I don't think it was in the electrolyzer. No, it was definitely not in there. I think it was in the mixer. There was a way that I ended up getting sulfur out of it. But I think it was just sulfur dioxide and hydrosulfuric acid. So this one here, you can mix, wait a minute. I'm lost for a second. Hydrosulfuric acid is sulfur and, yeah, that's not it. Because it'll give you sulfur and water. Oh, yeah, I had to make hydrosulfuric acid to dilute the sulfuric dioxide, and then I could get the sulfur and the water back out of it. Because it's the only way to get sulfur out of sulfur dioxide is I had to mix the sulfur with the hydrogen, make hydrosulfuric acid, and then mix that with the sulfur dioxide to get the sulfur and water out, and then send this sulfur back in, and you got more out than what you needed for each recipe, so you ended up building sulfur. Because I like the challenge of not voiding anything that isn't an element or pure water. And so just voiding sulfuric acid is not something I want to do. But I can't without a sink for sulfuric acid. So this just drives me nuts. Anyways, I've wasted like 10 minutes just sitting here looking at stupid shit. So let's get to what we're actually here for today, which is we're going to make Aqua Regia. So first things first, let's get us a machine switch onto here. So for Aqua Regia, we need hydrochloric acid and nitric acid. And we have made both of those, and we get no byproduct. It's just straight Aqua Regia. And then we're going to use this Aqua Regia, as we've talked about in the past, to get our platinum group sludge from sheldonite and skip that one for right now. Iridium, platinum, meteoric iron, skip that one for now. That's fake. And nickel is the big one we're going to be using to get this stuff. We've been saving any native nickel we get this whole time just so we can do this with it, because this platinum group sludge is going to give us, if we look at a full one here, we have a 7.2% chance for each of the 8 that it has for each one of ruthenium, rhodium, palladium, all of these being basically useless, but then osmium, iridium, and platinum, and these 3 being very important. Osmium is going to be very important for everything in our replication stuff. Iridium is going to be very important for making iridium coils that we're going to need for our fusion reactor. And platinum is going to be for our higher tier circuits and many other things. That's just an example of what we're going to need those 3 things for. Palladium, rhodium, and ruthenium, basically useless. We'll throw them in replication and break them down to matter to turn into other stuff, probably. But that is the main reason why we're doing this. We also have the other things that we can do that I said we'll skip, which is making chlororic acid from gold and making it from copper. And then we also have stannic chloride from tin and cassiterite, and we can look at those later on down the road. But our main reason for this is we want our Aqua Regia for platinum group sludge. So this is our tank that we are putting it in. This is our tank where our nitric is coming out. So we need to first off make sure nothing's out here to blow up my tanks. And let's get rid of this wall for a moment. And if we look at the mixer here, the fluids can go in the top and the left. So normally we would put a extender so we can put two different fluids into the top. But in this case, we do not need to do that because we can put them in the top and the left, and we only have two fluids. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to have this one, which is going to go up here, and we need this to be our hydrochloric acid. And then we're going to have this one, which is going to be our nitric acid. And then this is going to be the output that's literally just going to run right to there. So this one we're going to have come over and down to right here. And then we can just knock this out for a moment and connect this here, and let me bash my way down here. There we go. And then I'm hoping there's something under here. Good. And we can just come right across here if I get out of that pipe. There we go. And now that'll give us our nitric acid in here as soon as I connect that one. So there's our nitric acid. And now we need to get this one connected to the hydrochloric acid. And we've got to figure out how exactly we want to do that, which I actually have not looked into yet because our hydrochloric acid is way down here. And the pipe is going... actually, I think this one goes down in the basement. Let's go look. Because it has to run all the way over here. I do believe that this right here is our hydrochloric acid. Okay, so we can easily send that right on over and up through here. I just got to figure out, because I put that one there. Because I was actually thinking I was going to go up top with the hydrochloric acid. But we're not going to have any output other than our fluid. So we could come up over the top from this side as well. The other option would be that... No, there really isn't another option. That's that's pretty much what we're going to do. Is we're just going to have this then come down right here on this side. So give me a minute. I'm going to rebuild my wall here. Now that we've got all the important stuff done, and I will navigate this pipe through this mess down here, and I'll be right back with you. Alright, so I got the pipe coming down right here, and I ran it right across our CO2 tank right here. So now we just need to get this connected here on this back side, which is going to be a little bit interesting because we're going to have to go around this rubber pipe. But luckily we've left just enough room to do so. That new cross extender thing that Greg is adding cannot come soon enough, I'm telling you. That thing is going to be such a godsend for piping. Alright, so with that, we now have hydrochloric acid. So if we connect up our crap, it's down there. I forgot where this was connected at, or disconnected at. Right here. So we connect that up right there, and we should have Aqua Regia. And there we go. We have Aqua Regia. Beautiful. So now we'll let that tank fill on up out there. And in one of the next few episodes, we'll set us up a bath for that. I also want to look at moving this down so we can connect these up to it down there so we don't have two different ones. But we'll do that in a later episode at some point. And this is probably going to be our next thing to set up, is our vitriol for copper, because we've been doing so much washing of coppery type things. We have 3,000 tetra sitting here. We have 800 copper sitting here, all waiting to go through our bath. And we have, look at this, we've got 63 tiny purified osmium from that molybdenite. It's beautiful. But we've already washed 2,000 tetra that's sitting here waiting. We've got 2,000 copper sitting here waiting, 700 stannite, 165 kesterite. We need to get 340 of our malachite. We need to get this washed, or vitriol ran. So that is going to be our next thing, probably. So I will work on getting everything made this weekend that I'm going to need to finish up this build here, and we will build this hopefully on Monday. And for anybody that hasn't noticed, we're trying to get back to the Tuesday night. I know for anybody that's not in the US, it's really late at night when we do it. But in the evenings, Tamara Crazy and I are trying to get back to the GT6 server streaming. We had another one last night, or Tuesday night, I mean. So if you guys would like to stop in and join us in our fun hijinks on the server, I'll be happy to have you. Have a good one. Take it easy. I'll see you next time.